Yeah. Oh. Can you do that?
L'chaim. The Beis Iyer, as we know, in our times became synonymous with two words, Chatchila Ariba. This was not the case as far as I know, the times of the Rebbe Marash, or the Rebbe Rashab, or the Frierdiker Rebbe, or even the Rebbe in the first years. For example, the Nigen, that he was just sang a bissl schwach, to make up for it. The Nigen, we used to call it, in Old City, we used to call it the Nigen 1, 2, 3, 4, well, richtig. 1, 2, 3. That's what was called 1, 2, 3, 4. Four foul. The Rebbe gave it a name, Chatchila Ariba. Zogt Chatchila Ariba. We know that we have to sing the Rebbe Merash's Nigen. So there's a special emphasis by the Rebbe about the Inva Chatchila Ariba, and as the years went on, it was even Fabrengens, Beis Iyer, the weekdays, Tefillah. Not only that, we see, before the Nesiyas, we know that the Rebbe wrote the Hayem Yem, which had his name on it, before the Nesiyas. Also, the Rebbe made the Haggadah, that had his name on it. The Rebbe was also writing Ha'ores and gave us some other Sfarim, but his name was not written there. The only other Sefer that came out was Sefer HaToldos Admur Marash. Starting as a Sefer HaToldos Admur Marash. It's starting about Shem Tov and the Rebbe. It's a Sefer, it's a Likud, but it came out with the Rebbe's name on it. So these were three Yonim that came out. There's another one that came out. Many people don't realize the Rebbe was involved in it, and that's in English, from day to day. Came out even before the Hayem Yem. The Rebbe's name is not written on it. It's written, whoever put it together. The Rebbe wrote the whole Sefer, etc., etc. But we see from the Rebbe Marash, the Rebbe was gekochzach in the from Rebbe Marash. And also the Chassidus that came out before the Nesiyas of the Rebbe was also memorim of the Rebbe Marash. The memorim of the Rebbe Marash. There's no memorim of the Alter Rebbe, the Mittel Rebbe, even though the Rebbe had many ksovim. Nothing came out in that time. The Rebbe Rashab, the Rebbe even once spoke about it. Memorim are coming out, and Tov Shalom Zayin, the Rebbe spoke about it, and Hayatochen, Ayin Bezna coming out, etc. But the Rebbe Marash's one came out, and unfortunately they didn't have any money in those days, so they couldn't have a typeset to make it properly printed. So they did it the most cheapest way that they were able to do it was to take the Ksav Yad, not Ksav Yad Kedesh, was an individual called a Shmuel Sefer, a Shmuel Shai ben Lubavitch. In those days, there was no photocopies machines. So if you wanted to have a Maimer that was written on the Hanocha, that maybe even the Rebbe himself wrote the Hanocha, the Rebbe Rashab, so he used to give it out to one person to write. But it had to be somebody who writes quickly and who writes clearly, that people should be able to read it, and the Pasha used to make money based on that. So they took one of those ksovim that they had, the ksav from the Rebbe, from the Shmuel Sefer, and they photocopied and came out like that. Many sforim of the Rebbe Marash came out in such a way. So the Rebbe in the Sikha, the Rebbe explained once, these two words, Chatchila Ariber means, it's normally understood that if you have two ways, as the Rebbe Marash himself said, we can get a runter, the Weltzogt runter is easier, darf nicht springen, es ist geringer zu gehen, als bederich Hadroge, ruhiger heit. And ich sage, Chatchila Ariber. So that's the idea of going Ariber. But then the Rebbe said that not just it means the Chatchila, the Haschola has to be Ariber. The Rebbe took it on a chidush that in the Ariber itself there has to be a Chatchila. In other words, that after a person goes Ariber, it's not enough anymore. It's not enough. They're going to Chatchila Ariber from the Ariber. And keep on going like that the whole time to go Hecher and Hecher and Hecher and Hecher in the Mariba. So Rebbe said, there's really no limit. And the Rebbe said, Klor, and the Sichas, and the Tavshinu, and other Sichas, the Rebbe said that it's not a heroic protest. Even though, if you look the mokir of this famous Pisgim that came out, that this is the Rebbe Marash, it sounds like he spoke about every Fabrenke and every single Maimer. From what we know, I think the only place that's sourced is the a letter of the Frierdiker Rebbe printed in Igros Kodesh. Basically, it's not, I don't think it's even found in the Sichas of the Frierdiker Rebbe. The Rebbe took that and made this not just a heroic protest for an individual person that he answered somebody, but it's something, it's a heroi, an Avedas Hashem. The Rebbe said, from Jeden Eden, Machshove, Dibur, B'maisa. The Rebbe said this close. Machshove, Dibur, B'maisa has to be in a way of Chatchila Aribet. Chatchila Aribet means it has to go from the highest to the lowest. And the Rebbe mentions also that Tiferes, as we know by the office, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov was Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferes. So Tiferes is associated with Yaakov. And Yaakov, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, in Perikut Gimel, in Igros Kodesh, and Siman Vov, the Alter Rebbe says that what is Yaakov? Yaakov is Kavem Tzoi. Kavem Tzoi is Mavriach in a Kotza Lakotza, that it goes from one extreme to the other extreme. That's the union of Yaakov. So, but the union of Chatchila Aribet, the Rebbe says, should also be the same way. Has been a kotza la kotza. From the hechste madreges, the nidigste madreges, all over, has to be the union of Chatchila Aribet. When I read the Sikha, I found something. It doesn't say in the Sikha, but the union of Vrich Hatichen, Vrich min kotza la kotza. So be'etzem, we have the 7 Nesim, 7 Rabbeim, so the Rebbe Marash is exactly in the middle. Like the Mittel Rebbe under the Rebbe. Because the name, the Mittel Rebbe that we call, Bepashtus, that name was given during the times that it's Tzemach Tzedek. Tzemach Tzedek was called the Rebbe. The Mittel, the Rebbe before, the one before, but it was the Alter Rebbe. Alter doesn't mean that he's old, in the sense of being an old man. Old, the previous, the one, the original one, and the Mittel Rebbe was in the middle, between the Alter Rebbe and the Tzemach Tzedek was the Mittel Rebbe, but not, we have the 7 Rabbeim, so the Rebbe Marash is a mitten, the Brich HaTichen. Brich HaTichen, the Rebbe actually mentions about associated, the Rebbe didn't say this Brich HaTichen from Rebbe Marash. The Rebbe said it's refers to Yaakov, and Yaakov is the Brich HaTichen, Makotza Lakotza. But if you look at it, Abyssal Tifer, you can see the Rebbe Marash himself, being the 7th, maybe the Rebbe couldn't say it because then you have to count the Rebbe also, the Vesach Nish. But the Peil, the Metzias is that the seven Rabbeim is the Rebbe Marash, Menakotza Lakotza. And interessant, the Gemara says in Shabbos, the Gemara says that Briach HaTichen B'nes Hoya Emed. The Briach HaTichen, we know that there was many brichim around the Mishkan. That was coming from both sides, and on the Tzof and the Dorim and the Ma'ariv. There was a briach, poles that were stuck outside the Mishkan. But then there was the Briach HaTichen was drilled with a hole inside the Kroshim, and it went all the way through. But the Gemara says, B'nes Hoya Emed, when it came to the end of the corner, it made a turn. And then it went down the Ma'ariv wall, then it made a turn to the other wall. In other words, it's a stick. It was a stick that actually they could put it in like something flexible under it. It was a stick, but it went through all the walls. Through the holes, it went through, and it made 2 turns. A left turn and a right turn, a right and a left turn, which way, depends which way you put it in. And it went all the way through. So B'nes Hoya Emed. So you can think B'nes Hoya Emed, B'nes, what's a Nes? Nos Alahorim. Chatchila Hechet, Chatchila Aribet, Hechet, and Al Inyonim, that's the union of the Briach HaTichen. But the Rebbe himself connects the Briach HaTichen, but over here he can say that he was the Tichet, he was the middle of the Rabbeim is B'nes Hoya Emed, B'nes Chatchila is Hecher for Al Inyonim, Hecher Chatchila Aribet, Buno, and the Rebbe explains if you're already Aribet, I can get no Hecher Chatchila Aribet. But Chatchila, the Rebbe type means Haschole. The Haschole has to be the Eifn from Aribet. The Rebbe asked the Shaila on the date of the Rebbe Marash's birthday, that it's the beginning of Eir. What is Eir? Eir is the only month in the entire year that has a mitzvah associated specifically with that day that is not found in other days of the year, and every single day. There's many, there's Yom Tov, there's Pesach, Shavuos, but at certain times. But a mitzvah, Sfiras HaEimer, that we have every single day of the month is the only is Sfiras HaEimer. But what's Sfiras HaEimer? Sfiras HaEimer is Bahadroge. What's Sfiras HaEimer? You have to work slowly. You have to work Chesed, Sheba Chesed. You have to be Masakin, Ufton, Maila Zayin, the Sfira, the Midas of Chesed, Sheba Chesed. Then goes Bura Sheba Chesed. And continue on one by one by one by one. That's the exact opposite of Lechatchila Ribber. Lechatchila Ribber, Lechatchila again Hechet. And here we come along at the Rebbe Marash's birthday was a whole month of Adroge, limitations, and step by step, and you have to finish, and then you go to the next step, and you go to the next step. The Rebbe asked, L'chuda, that's vestira to the whole Aveda. But the Rebbe is an Aveda, it's not just a piece. The Aveda of the Rebbe Marash, Lechatchila Ribber, it's the opposite of Lechatchila Ribber. So the Rebbe explained that Sfira, the Torah, interestingly enough, doesn't write a date when you have to start counting Sfira. There's no date. Every Pesach, Chamisha Osod, Sukkot, Chamisha Osod, Echad LaChedesh, you have Yom Kippur, written clear the date. Sfira is such an important thing, and you brought a korban to alle Sachen. So, there's no date. What does it say? Mimochras HaShabbos. Sayus Fatlachem Mimochras HaShabbos. Same thing to bring the Eimer is also Mimochras HaShabbos. Doesn't say it should be on the 16th day of Nisan. Doesn't say that. You have to figure out ourselves. Not only that we know that it's Dukim, but then it's just there's a whole machlekes with the Dukim and the Prushim Ayid. I'm saying that at Shabbos does not mean Shabbos Bereishis. Shabbos Bereishis means that it's not Sunday, but then it was always Sunday. They counted always as Sunday because Shabbos is Shabbos. So we know that Shabbos means Yom Tov. What does Shabbos mean? It means Pesach. What is Pesach? Pesach, that means the whole Inyan of Sfira is attached and connected in a hemshech of Pesach. What does Pesach represent? Like it says in the Torah itself, Rashi says, keep dilug, kfitza, to jump. Pesach means, the name Pesach is a posach, that they jumped over. The only of jumping on Chatchila Ribber. That's the message of Pesach, Chatchila Ribber. That's the ganze Mais Chatchila Ribber. And when you do the Chatchila Ribber, and that becomes your Aveda, the Rebbe said, then it's in such a way that it should have an impact even on the things that a person is mugbal, the things that a person has to do b'hadrogya. There's certain things we have to do b'hadrogya. You can't keep on jumping. Like, that's in the Aveda, in the Aveda of Sfiras HaEimer, a person can jump and turn the pages 1 to 3 from Chesed to Chesed, is Malchus, 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 and it's all over. It has to be Badrog, daf Ufton, but in that group, daf sein Eifen, that should be Lechatchila Riber, coming from the Posach. The Posach that we know is the Alter Rebbe in the Haggadah did not write Chasal Siddur Pesach. In all the Haggadahs, in all the Neschois, you find at the end of the Seder, mit geendigt Seder Pesach till next year. Siddur Pesach. But the Alter Rebbe said, a Pesach, the order of Pesach, that nimshcha b'ganzen yor. So Sfira, that comes right after Pesach, and the Torah explicitly expresses itself in such a way not to say a date, because it's not the date. The date is not the date. It has to do with Pesach, with Kfitza, and the Dilug. So the Dilug of Pesach has an impact directly into each one of the Sfira, and that brings ultimately, by going in such a way, we go to Chatchila Ariber, in such a way, so that brings us to the Chag HaShavuos. Because Chag HaShavuos, as it says in Chassidus, that it says in the Torah, it says Tisperu Hamishim Yom. Hamishim Yom is 50, and we all know that we don't count 50, we count 49. The Torah could have just as well said that they count our Boy V'Tesha. That's it. Make it as clear as day. It's a halacha. The halacha has to be clear. So why did the Torah say it that way? The emphasis is that we get over here especially when it says in Chassidus that Tisper remains shine, becomes brightened. We polished up Chamishim Yom, but the Chamishim Yom is not something that we can do. We cannot do a Yid on his own because he's a Basar Badom, a Ben Odom. He cannot reach the Shara Chamishim. Shara Chamishim, a Yid cannot reach. It says about Moshe Rabbeinu, the Gemara says, Chamishim Shara Bina Nivru Ba'elam. 50 gates of Bina, wisdom, understanding, was created in this world. Kulam nitnu l'Moshe. Even each one of them is a high madrege. But Moshe Rabbeinu got all of them. Choser echad, one less. He got 50 minus 1, which is 49. So what does it mean? There are 50. It's not 51, it's 50. But the 50 is impossible to get. So the 49, a person gets with Raveda. It says Moshe Rabbeinu by his stalkus, and then he wasn't mugbal. Even though it says the goof of a tzaddik is also a goof. The Moshe Rabbeinu, but his stalkus, so it says that he was nigbar in Har Nevei. Har Nevei, we don't know where it is, but that says clear in the Torah that it was Har Nevei. We can't find it today. We can never find it. It says in the Torah. We never will find it till Mashiach comes. But Har Nevei, so it says that it's Nun Vei is Nun Vei. Nun is 50. Vei, he was able to get the Shara Nun that he couldn't get his whole lifetime. But he got the 49. The 49 he got, once you get the 49, you're given the 50th as a matana. Same thing Shavuos. Shavuos is a matana that the Eibishter gives Tisper Chamishim Yom because we did the Aveda in the 49 days. And the Rebbe said that if it's done in such a way, the Rebbe said, when we say in the Rebbeinu Shalom, after Shviras HaEmet, we say it very, very quickly. Hope we have a bit of Shamilas, but we say it very, very quickly. And it says that in the Schus, as Shviras HaEmet, we Mesakein, which means we're going back to the Adrog Yebot, with Chatchila Ariber. So then, Betohir, Veskadesh, Bekdusho, Shalmailo. We should get purified, and sanctified with the holiness of Mailo. Okay, and then we should have a Shefer Rab B'chol Eilamus. We count as Sfira. Every individual Yid counts Sfira. Sfira is actually for every single Yochid, not like Sfira of Yevel. Sfira is given over to every Yochid. So B'chol, the Rebbe said this, Shefer Rab B'chol Eilamus. Ulasakein, Nafshaseinu, Ruchaseinu, Nishmaseinu. It's Naran, Nefesh, Ruch, and Neshama. And then, even further, Utareinu Kachen B'Kedushos Cho. Not Kedusha. Kedushos Cho. Kedushos Cho, the Kedusha of the Eibishter Ha'Elyeino. Ha'Elyeino, which mamish the highest madrig, which is Shaychus. Kedushos Cho Ha'Elyeino, which is Ad Ein Sof, Omen Selo, the end of Nitzchi. All this we accomplish as the same way. Why? Because by Matan Torah is also the same way. By Matan Torah we see that the Dilug and the Kfitza, who did the Dilug and the Kfitza? So we say in the Haggadah, taken from the Mechilta, from the Sifri, everyone knows in the Haggadah, Lei al de Malach, Lei al de Sorov, and it's born with Kveidev Atzmei. So it says Chassidus that Kveidev Atzmei is Atzmas Ein Sof. Atzmas Ein Sof. It's explained now in Beis Barichas. Asmas Ein Sof had to come there, the highest madrege, and they were taken, as we know, from Memtesh Ari Tumah, and it says that the reason that if a Malach would come to take out the Eden from Mitzrayim, the Malach itself would sink in to the Tumah of Mitzrayim. There was such a strong Tumah, like in today's language, say a black hole. A black hole schleps everything in. You can't come out. You get stuck, you can't get out. So the Malach would have sunk together with Chas v'Sholem, with everybody together. Such a deep, and they went from there till the Shoshchol Yeino B'chveide v'Asmet Atzmas Ein Sof. So that is the Haschole of Sfira. So Sfira Sa'emer is grounded in this inyan of L'chatchila Ribet, and then the Aveda. So the Rebbe Marash's Aveda was like to bring it down in the Sfira. That's the whole thing, that L'chatchila Ribet should be even the yonim that are l'maylam that are chateva, even the yonim that are l'maylam madrege v'agbolos. All these things should be in a way l'chatchila river. So again, this the Rebbe said this. This is the Aveda. We just heard the Sikha now about the Rebbe Marash and Hayem Yem. the Yem Yem of today also, that what's the spilus of the Rebbe Marash, that he knew how to learn properly of Tiferes of Tiferes. What's the spilus? There's also there's another story that when he was 9 years old, the Rebbe Marash, some big chassidim came to the Tzemach Tzedek to consult with something. So there was David Luria, that he wrote Chedusha Aradal, a very famous Goyen. So he was discussing Harashak Levataria in learning with the Rebbe Marash at 9 years old, little boy, 9 years old, and the end was that who won the discussion? The Rebbe Marash. It was Pashas Mispol, and the Peretz Chaim. Peretz Chaim is my mother's grandfather's grandfather. So he was very close to the Tzemach Tzedek. The Choser Mittler Rebbe saw the Alter Rebbe also, and the Tzemach Tzedek, and so he went in when he spoke to the Tzemach Tzedek. He told them what happened. Your 9-year-old little boy was Menatzeach a Greis and Goyin. So Tzemach Tzedek again didn't have his pilus. He said, but his bris was Tiferes Shebenetzach. So you have the need of Netzach also. So in learning, you have Tiferes Shebetiferes, you have Tiferes Shebenetzach. Well, David take a help. Like the Rebbe said, that this Chatchil HaRiber is everything that we need. Every single individual, and the biggest thing of Mashiach now is on the Chatchil HaRiber. L'chaim, l'chaim. We have to try and noch einmal singen. Nein?
Chatchil HaRiber. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.
It's known also that Rebbe Marash conducted his life, the Gashmiyas, at least that was visible, was in a way of tremendous archove, an abundance, not just abundance, but ashiris, and riches. The Rebbe spoke about it a few times. One time the Rebbe spoke about it, Bariches was also putting Tovshin Chavches. The Rebbe spoke about what it says in Tanya, but Rabbeinu HaKodesh, they didn't have a north in this world, a filo be'ez baktana. So the Rebbe said, you know, that Rabbeinu HaKodesh was a tremendous usher. He was very, very rich. And Rashi brings it in Chumash, I feel that. Rebbe Antoninus, that's name Chazeres, never, all the delicacies. In olden days, you couldn't get all the fruits. You walk into a store and buy whatever you want from around the world. People that were able to have that were considered very rich. By him, there was always, everything was available. He had tremendous riches. And at the same time, he didn't have a nerve in this whole entire world as a Ktanos. The Rebbe discussed it at length. And then the Rebbe said, we find also the Ashiras, we find by many daily Yisrael. And the Rebbe said, what's the purpose of having such hanhogeh, and especially people who don't understand, can be, the Rebbe used the Losh Mahara Racharabe, which you think, what is it? What kind of Seder is this? Such a Valdik riches. So the Rebbe said that his grandfather, that's his mother's father, Meir Shleimer, so after he got married, he went to the Rebbe Marash, and the Rebbe interjected that not like nowadays, when a couple gets married, the first thing is they have to think about a honeymoon. And the honeymoon, so right after the Sheva Brachos, and the Rebbe said those that are Mahader, be Mahader, they go right after the Chuppah, right after the first day, they go away and dafke to places with this missing all things that a person needs, and with Mishenis and everything else. The Rebbe even mentioned the Bahamas, Miami Beach. The Rebbe mentioned my Fabringen. Bahamas, Miami Beach. Leeft da weg Welt. That was in Chopches, it's a long time ago. But in those days, they said, my Zayde is this, the Meir Shleimer, he went after the wedding, the of his wife, he went to learn for 6 months, for a year, to learn by the Rebbe Marash. The Chatmimi didn't exist then, but there was a thing called Yeshiv that they sat and they learned near the Rebbe. That he was in the, from Alter Rebbe's times, there was already the Chadorim, etc. So he sat and learned. And after he came back, he was there for quite a while. He came back, he started telling the townspeople that he lived with, there was no communication that we have today with pictures and photographs and instant messaging, with alle gute Sachen, schlechte Sachen, whatever it may be called. And he started telling him what's the Holach Yelech, what it looks like by the Rebbe Marash. It was amongst the other details. And he was telling them details. He told them that, the Ashiris is unbelievable. And this the Rebbe mentioned. The Rebbe gave these things. The Rebbe said these details. That the Rebbe Marash had a watch made out of gold, a golden watch. And the Rebbe said, not like today, you wear the watch on your hand. Then they used to wear it. The Rebbe called an agilet. The Rebbe said, they sent a vest. There was two sides. There was a time that suits, Amalek side, and that's Amalek. There were suits that had a vest also. The Choshev suits had a Psashikol vest on also. So he had not only in the right side, he also had the left side. He had two of them. And he said the spoons and the forks, the cutlery is made out of gold. The furniture was top of the line. He even had a walking cane, a walking stick, was also with gold. This coach was what today would call a fancy car with 4 or 6 horses. V'chulu. He had the highest standard. The Rebbe mentioned these things. He said even the cigarette tribal, I think in the Sikha they translated as a kufsa. A tribal is something else. A tribal, I remember my father used to have a tribal. A tribal is not a pipe. A tribal is a Moleki Yodin. They didn't have cigarettes with filters. They had tobacco, and tobacco you took with a piece of paper and you wrapped it around the tazeh, but you stick in that, it's going to get wet right away and it's going to come apart in your mouth, all the tobacco. So after you rolled it up, there was a little piece that you put in your mouth made out of a material. In those days, there was no plastic, so there was a material like gold, I feel, and in that you're stuck in the cigarette. So that held a cigarette. So that's a tribal. A cigarette tribal. The tobacco was held, the Rebbe said, in a golden thing. So everything was mamish in such a way. So when the Yidden heard it, they said, "What? This is Hadhogya, tzaddik, a god. They just couldn't digest it. Doesn't make any sense. So when he heard this, he told them, petach, petach. Petach, petach means full, full. Full, full. Who did the Eibishter create gold and silver for me, for you, for the goyim? Sure, for the Rebbe. That's what it was created for. It was created for that, and that's the purpose. That's the purpose. In other words, nicht all verstatement, but that's the purpose. The Rebbe said it's an Aveda, definitely an Aveda in Kedusha. And the Rebbe emphasized also, this was another sikh, the Rebbe spoke a few times about this, that this was the ongoing Seder by the Rebbe Marash. But the same Sikha, the Rebbe said, but on the other hand, the same Rebbe Marash that had all this luxury with alle Sachen. So there's a story that every single day in Lubavitch, the Rebbe Marash had a coach, as mentioned before, and every single day he would go for a ride. And people don't know where he goes. He went for a ride and then came back. After a while, he came back. People didn't know where he goes. Maybe that's for the fresh air. As it's known, the Rebbe Marash, the Rebbe said it's another place, I think in the Rishimis also, that the Rebbe Marash used to travel a lot. The Rebbe Marash also had health problems. So people said he's going to visit doctors for health, etc., etc. The Rebbe said in reality, he was going to Petersburg and other places to mevatel certain gzeiros, unfortunately, came on Yidden. At that time, in old times, so the Rebbe Marash himself went to be mevatel these gzeiros. So when he went traveling every day, they had no idea where he was going, what he was doing, finished. But one time, they said, they decided Chassidim, the Rebbe said they had to find out. The gang in the Yodin, the coachman was a goy. The Rebbe Marash specifically chose a goy, Ivan, that he should drive the Rebbe Marash, and that's it. And he was sworn to secrecy, not to say anything. The Rebbe said, either mit dem ungeschickert and ungetrunken, other ways, the Rebbe said, the bottom line is, they asked him, what's going on over there? What's happening? You go every single day with the Rebbe Marash, you go with the Rebbe, what's he doing over there? So after he started talking, he said, and the Rebbe said it in Russian, the Rebbe said, Chudnoy Chilavek. Chudnoy Chilavek is a queer person. Queer, mamish, not to be understood. Not to be understood. It's a modern mention under it, a modern mention. He says he goes over there, we come to the forest, he sits down under a tree, and all of a sudden, there's ants and other crawling insects coming all over him, and he just sits there. And I think it says the Lashon Fakir that he started crying before the evening came on, these insects. He sits down, he starts crying, and all of a sudden all these insects come up upon him. And after a certain amount of time, they all go off at the same time. He doesn't chase them away. They all go off, and he gets up, and he gets back on the coach, and he comes back. So the Rebbe said he was saying, versteht nicht. He's a happy man. He's married. He has a family, Baruch Hashem. He has money, galore. What's missing? What's missing by him? What's he crying about? What's he crying? Sitzt und weint. That's something very, very strange. So the mice of the gang to the Rebbe Marash, he found out about it. So this guy was fired because giving out these secrets. And they started crying. The Rebbe said, and he promised, I'll never do it again. The bottom line was rehired again. But the Rebbe said that if not for this goy, we would never know. We would never know what the Rebbe Marash is actually doing. He's going for a walk, he's going to entertain himself, he's catching fresh air, whatever he's doing, he's on the rate. But with these two stories go together. The Rebbe told us in the same Sikha that the same tzaddik, the same Rebbe that lived in such riches, the same tzaddik went over there and was crying before they even came on. They came on, and the Rebbe said that the fact that they went off all by themselves means, the guy I think mentioned it also, means that it's not a nishkin posh dazach. He didn't chase them away. He didn't say, everybody get off now. Time is up. We did our service of it. Geg is on today. They went off, he got up, and he went back. So the Rebbe brought out interessante Hira that that Sikha that be'emes everybody deserves to have riches. Gemara says that Nebuchadnezzar he took 3 steps to the Eibishter, so the Eibishter promised him that for him, his children and grandchildren will have the Malucha, for this generation will have the Malucha. They'll have riches and everything else. So the Rebbe said, every single Yid for sure did a lot more than 3 steps to the Eibishter. It's not even a question. Every single step Yid. So everybody deserves to have Harchove and Ashirus and everything that they need, Begashmius or Beruchnius. And at the same time, the Rebbe added, it could also be like Rabbeinu HaKodesh, like Linena, Filum Ezbaktana, not to have a Noah from the Gashmis of the world, not to have a Noah from the Gash of the world. Not to have the Hanoah, Linena. And the Rebbe said, Alter Rebbe says the Lashon, Rabbeinu HaKodesh. Rabbeinu HaKodesh called Rabbi Yehuda Anosi, Rabbi, Rabbeinu. So Rabbeinu means that's our Rebbe. Our Rebbe means it's for a Rebbe of every single generation. The Yehuda Anosi, the Rebbe of Alter Rebbe calls him Rabbeinu HaKodesh for that reason, the Rebbe of the entire Klal Yisrael. That means that it's something that's within reach, that every single Yid versteht at their level. You know, the famous Sikha, which heard from the Rebbe, Chav Beis, I remember, and other times the Rebbe said it later on again, but Rebbe says, sehr stark gekocht in them, and it's Purim. Purim is, the Gemara asks, why did the Gzeira happen? So one of the reasons it says, because they had a Noah of the Suda of Eiser Rosha B'Achashverosh. So the Rebbe said, such a thing, Nen Misadosh Eiser Rosha, what? For that we chayiv lahashmid lahadik lahaber eskola Yehudim narba zokit tav nosh mibechot. How does that happen? And the Rebbe went on to say also that the Sedos Leisa Rosho, it says in the Megillah that Achashverosh said laseis kirtzein ish va'ish, that everybody got exactly what they wanted. It was an open menu. Like you go on a plane today, you can order kosher food, you can order vegetarian, you can order both the wheels against the bastel. They had everything. You want kosher food, they gave you kosher food and kosher wine. All they given kosher, miklat kosher, maybe tenach shedim. Everything was there. So they ate kosher, and they were there. They had no choice. Achashverosh invites you not to come. This made it b'malchus. So you had to go. So what's the grace aveda? They ate kosher. Also say what happened? So the Rebbe said, the Gemara doesn't say she'ochlu, b'tzedosha shalisha rosha. It doesn't say she'ochlu. The eating itself wasn't the issue. The Rebbe said the problem was the nehene. I remember the Rebbe screamed, "Gvald, vos hostu hanoah? What do you have hanoah? You have to yemuchrach to go. Okay, you have to go to the Subach Hashvedish. But on the tables are sitting there kelim of the Beis Hamikdash. This is right after Churban Bayis Rishon, between Bayis Rishon and Bayis Sheni. When he made the Suda, the battles of Mashke, those battles, things from the Beis Hamikdash was sitting right there. And you're sitting, what do you have hanoah? That the Goy invited you to come to the Suda? Just sit and cry. What's hosta hanoah? The nene. So the Rebbe said, in that sikha, over here the Rebbe mentions, didn't connect the two sikhas together, but that we could, wünschen sich, that we can have, like Rabbeinu HaKodesh, at least that's a she'ifet, that we can have, not to take away, you should have abundance, the gashmias and everything that a person needs, and still not to liegen in them. A chosid knows, that was an atefach hecha from the Welt. You know, the famous Meiser. There was a chosid, the Rebbe Rashab. Rebbe Rashab used to, his job, he was a manufacturer of boots, rubbers, what you call today, galoshen. So, but he was too much involved in the business, more than is necessary. So the Rebbe Rashab told him, a parfis in galoshen, feet and rubbers and overshoes, I've seen. Oh, but the kop in the galoshen, they have your head buried in the galoshen, the ganze kop shouldn't be. And it said you have to do Masi Yodecho. Yodecha, it has to be Inyan from Kapayim. Mas Yodecha, you work with the hands. But the head has to be reserved for learning Torah, for Davne, nicht for learning the cup, und die alle Sachen. So the Nene should be in other things. But the Broch has to be the same Broch. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.
Tafshin Yud.
Was?
Tafshin Yud, dat hebben we verbracht. De eerste morgen.
Ja, Bezier, ja. Ja, es ist ein Chiddush. Chop Cheshen haben wir verbracht.
Ja. Auf Cheshen und Beis Nissen.
Beis Nissen also nicht. Interessant. Der Zalman Duchman, mein alter Vetter, he wrote L'Shem Eisen. He said he always used to verbring in Leningrad. He describes where the Stalobin, the ganze Meise. And the Frierdiker Rebbe said the Rebbe was there and his brother Label, but the Fabringen. So the Frierdiker Rebbe said, "Si Ashod, or Si Rachmanus Ashod, the Tata tech nicht gesehen." There's two different schois, but basically that's the message. So as Alma Duchman said that he always had a shaila in his mind. How is it taken? The Bleivik, he used to go to the Rebbe, from the Gresta Chassidim of the Rebbe Rashab. And he traveled, not he didn't go, as he traveled, and the Bleivik, Azolche gerotene Kinder. That's what I'm doing, Azolche gerotene Kinder. So it's mamish, the tire gems of at that time the Rebbe was already writing to the Rogatchover. You know, he already had a correspondence with Rogatchover. That's not his greatness from the Rebbe, we know that, but we just, even in our small eyes, but you can understand what greatness is, but the Gashmias in Avonne, Vasoge, V'chulu. How come he never went, not even once? He never saw, and the Rebbe himself never said, I want to come along. Ich will have Iron Base. I want to hear Iron Base coming directly. So Zalman Duchman said that he has, with another Fabring of the Frierdiker Rebbe said that how come the Alter Rebbe, over there also we know, but by mitzvah, you don't have to know that godless with the Alter Rebbe, Rav Tanuhu Polik. By mitzvah was already given that title. Tanuhu Polik, we don't need any proof of the greatness of the Alter Rebbe. Alter Rebbe, by the Chalkos of the Baal Shem Tov, was 15 years old. 15 years old, didn't go to see the Baal Shem Tov. Never saw the Baal Shem Tov. And his father was from the Tzaddikim Nestorim that knew about the Baal Shem Tov. He was taken only once when he was 3 years old, and even then he was told that shouldn't tell him and shouldn't remind him, and just forget it, erase it, delete. So basically, but he never went. So the Frierdiker Rebbe said that because the Alter Rebbe, his connection was with the Maggid. So therefore, nicht with Baal Shem Tov. There is Baal Shem Tov, everything else, but to become Mamish Mekusher was with the Maggid. So Zalman Duchman says, this I understand, that the Rebbe is also Mekusher to the Frierdiker Rebbe. The Rebbe Rashab is different door, Derech Hamishi, today's language. So he wanted to print it in the Sefer, but that's again the Teres, again the Machshavos. You know, the Sefer, it's a good Sefer that he put together, Mezechrenis, that he heard himself, Mamish. He heard himself and that he heard himself. Warte nach was? Label. Nein. Da ist runter. Das früher. Da Riba sagt, die Gadlos nach Riba, wir können bringen da runter. Das ist die Geiste Gadlos nach Riba. So he said he didn't want to print it as such a thing, but the alter Sachen was what he didn't hear. So to fail, he asked the Rebbe. He's printed the Sefer. He was thinking about it. The Rebbe said you can print it. The second printed L'Shem Eisen. Interessant, das ist sehr interessant. Also er wird da reingehackt am Shagas, but he got as come from Rebbe. So it's a great Sache. It's a gewaltige Ringen. That Mamish, that the Rebbe gave. Mit dem wird geferent, der Kasche, der starke Kasche, that the Rebbe, to the extent that he never verbracht so his Nissen, sich auf Cheshvan, in the middle of the week, the derech klal not. Just when I jetzt in a club, but base here is
Putz von Yechi, das ist gewähnt Business.
Was?
Yechi Amelech.
Chia Melech, ja, das schon mal Ches. Hat bewusst bei ihr. Ich habe mal gefahren zum, that's right. But there was a few Verbringers. Aber der Wort, der gewaltige Wort, das ist Kastus, den ganzen übergegeben ist, die Chaye, Yechide, der Nefesh, Ruch, Neshama, übergegeben, Chaim, Chaim.
Dit is ook de Rebbe Chaim.
Was?
Rebbe Chaim hat gesagt,
Ja.
als der Tat, ich bin von Rebbe, der größten Taten, aber ich bin den ganzen im Schwert.
Oh, ganz im Schluss, ja. Dann trägt er ganze, die Korrespondenz mit allen Sachen.
Gewisse Sachen, dass geführt wird, das
Nicht nur geführt, er viel lernen, er hat gespart mit, er didn't agree mit den Taten, er sagt Sachen. Viele später, kurz ist, du der Sachen, was er geschrieben zum Taten, und die wrote, wie er halt, und ist, ich mach schon bei Kotsch, immer ganz Ariches. Das ist ein ganzer Deal. Aber Peli, geblieben bei sein, so das ist.
Ja.
Kinderen zijn de verdediger. Dat is mijn kerstje.
Nicht nur
das ist meist echt.
Ja.
Einmal gekommen, das Ziel im gefunden von Rebbe Schaf.
Ja.
Dabei gefahren, Rebbe zurück in der Rebbe gestanden, dort mit 50 Jahre alt. Gewollt sehr stark, gewollt vor. Das hat es nicht gemacht.
Nicht gelassen. Ich muss gehört das.
Ich stand in die Mama, so gebeten, aber nicht gelassen.
Der Rebbe hat ja gewollt vor.
Ja, gewollt, warte, gewollt, aber das hat nicht gelassen.
Er hat nicht gelassen. Okay, das ist nice. Für die ganze
Und das dachten wir was.
Also, efter der Rebbe Schaf gesagt, das ist nicht gut, weil sie da auf der Rebbe mit dem Malschenkus.
Ja, das.
Das ist die Tosche. Man kann der Friedrich Rebbe sagt, doch, nicht gesehen im Schaf.
Ja, doch man das für. Ja.
Die ganze ist der Schiddach בכלל, das ist
Was?
der Rebbe nicht postel und die macht dem Schiddach.
Ja.
Dachte mir gedacht,
Ja, der bewusste Brief, sei ihm Tchilas Masecha, der schon Lachsidis, die Topfreis Samach Beis. Im Jahr wird es gewinnt Kamat Neilot.
interessant, der Friedrich Rebbe gewinnt 90 mit Rebbe's Bruder, soll ehrlich. Der Friedrich Rebbe mit Rebbe's Bruder. Dem Seem habe ich gesehen.
Da fand die meisten mit Gesäuen.
Ja, gesehen echt, der Regimes, ja.
Regimes.
Mit dem Seem habe ich
Aber der Samt, jene Regime ist sehr modern. Das ist doch Gesäuen, Gesäuen mit der Wils. Jeder, ich kann es nicht gehalten, bei uns ist Chalem, es kann sein, man ist in Tanja, wir sind Rabische. Aber wir sind alteres Ding. Es gesehen dem Reben, gesehen dem Bruder, und gesehen die Hitler und der Rebbe Schaf haben gefragt alle Sachen. Und auf Peil hat gesagt, willst du ein bisschen mehr Protein, jetzt frage ich meinen Bruder. Wann weiß er? Hat ihm gesehen in der Gesäu, in der Cholem, in der Gesäu, in Leib, whatever it was.
Frag den Bruder.
Frag den Bruder, also steht dort. Frag den Bruder. Was helfen fragen den Bruder? How does he know? Frag sich allein. Frag den Bruder, zusammen. A Gesäu ist eines am Eis. Wann am Eis das in der Rebbe, in der Rebbe Marash, in Tovshin Hey.
Rebbe Malash.
Yeah, Hermit Kop. Tovshin Hey, Yud Beis Kislev, Tovshin Hey, the Rebbe writes in the Rishimis. Take it for the Friedrich Rebbe's Rishimis. Yud Beis Kislev, Tovshin Hey, the Friedrich Rebbe writes a Chizoyin that he had. A Chizoyin. What was the Chizoyin? That his father, the Rebbe Rashab, Zayzeda, the Rebbe Marash, the Rebbe Rutscher, von der anderen Seite Zayde, they came to him, kommen zum Friedrich Rebbe. Then all of a sudden, his Rebbetzin, Friedrich Rebbe's Rebbetzin, Chamadin, appears. He said, was tust du da? Ich hatte gesagt, wir machen die Tür. Alle kommen rein dort. She was screaming. Alle kommen da rein, sie hat gemacht mit der Hand. Also ist das der Regime. Sie macht mit der Hand. Und der Rebbe Rashab hat gesagt, als Kabdonis, weißt du, and she started crying. The Rebbe Rashab told her, mach nicht so, darf nicht weinen, bechulu. And then he said that the Rebbe Marash said a ganze Teire. Vayikach Mekmale Adenov, and he said that it was Lakado, imagine a ganze, how mind with this, written sehr interessante, Das ist alles noch gezogen. The Rebbe Marash was in 770. You based Kislev Tavshin Hey. You like that? Sie hat gesagt, wir öffnen die Tür. Wir darf verschließen die Tür. Kein mich reinlassen. That's what she said. But the Rebbeim is... the Alter Rebbe sat in jail. He said that the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid came to visit him. So as he trachten, he came as an Shomber. The Tzemach Tzedek asked somebody if they saw the room, there was enough room for 3 people. For 3 Menschen.
Hat der Rebbe gesagt zu Shazar, also ich hat mir gesagt.
Was?
Der Rebbe hat gesagt zu Shazar, der hat mir geheißen, nicht vor
Ja.
Das schwer.
Ja.
Ich sage, gefragt, welche schwer, bis nicht gehabt ist. Das meiste, was der Rebbe redet.
Ja, ich habe gesagt, er gesagt, als hat das auch Pressure jemand, also der Rebbe soll kommen zu ihm. Ist der Lepeo, hat gefragt dem Rebbe, I had him telephone, he asked the Rebbe, so the Rebbe told him, before morgen auf den Eil, morgen, am Tag noch, weil der gab man dann, I think it was Wednesday, vor dem Donnerstag, hat gesagt, das schwer gesagt hat. And then when he came in, he came mit dem Jolas vorn, gewohnt pushet krank, Shabbos, gewohnt krank mit alle Sachen. Der ganze Meister der Chaim gerade von der Chevroman, er schießt, weißt du, nicht gefrummet. A Chaber von Shazar, ist gewinnt dort zusammen in Manhattan, sie kommen zusammen, sagt man, sie ist ein Chaim. And das nicht vorn, a ganzen Lebensstoff a Ribel haben regret that you didn't go to see the Rebbe. Ich hatte einen Abend Nafschestecker zum Rebbe. Das eine Seite, ich bin nach Chossi von Rebbe Marashstecker. And
Grades?
what? Rubashop.
Der Shazar, ich habe ihn gesagt, Grades.
Nein, Shazar. Das Verribel haben, it'll bother you very much, das nicht gefordert. Ich sage, das Forden, es ist ein Tumor, es ist ein Chiebe in Kessel. So Lepeli came, and the Rebbe told him, as Tausende, Hunderte, Tausende Menschen durch dem Zimmer, da kommen sie, der Bruch und alle Sachen. Und das, aber ich nicht bringen nach hinzu. I can come, in other words. The Rebbe can come. But what this represents, Kedish HaKadoshim. And even Elyon. The Rebbe doesn't say the words Kedish HaKadoshim. Was?
Jemand im Fassen gewinnt, der Yechides. Sagt er doch, also Shazar sagt dem Rebbe, als in der Zoll, die Jugend sind am Marazim, sagt der Rebbe, nicht sagen, da noch ein Pschutim. Pshut, nicht sagen am Marazim.
Ja.
They just put it today in the... Sehr nechtem.
Of course, I used to get my Hatshuda.
Yeah.
It was recorded.
Right.
A recording from them.
Yeah.
Das wir haben die russische Jiden. Erst habe ich gern von Russland die haben. Hat sie gesagt, der Maratz, ich finde gerade wegen dem Wetter, die killt. Die frisst, die kalt von New York, I feel this. Ich dachte gerade, die russische Jiden. Erst jene Jahren, das werden die Chavov mit Samus gewähnt. Erst einmal rausgekommen von Russland. Der Maratz ist unglaublich. Und der Rebbe gesagt Pschittes, erst. Ein paar Minuten später sagt er weiter, der sagt, ich werde gebeten. Sagt, ich werde gebeten. I gave it out as a tshuda. My daughter got married to Zalman Kaplan, so I had a tshuda for the Yechidus. We went to Australia, so that was a Pearson mission, nobody had it. So we went to Australia, the stop Shukhav Zion. Jener Zeit nicht gewöhnt, dass eine kleine Maschinke lag, ein Smartphone, dass jeder Schmecker hat dort access to a recording, a Fotografie, mir rekordiert, alle Sachen. And the only thing they had was those big boxes, if you ever saw the reel-to-reel, they said it's very crazy. But them can garbage all your, that you can bring that into the Rebbe, and the person is electricity, it doesn't work, you have to slap a wire with it, it's impossible. So my cousin, Meir Mינקאוויטש, guys, Meir Mינקאוויטsh. That's the Parkway. Für Schleiman, ja, Simcha ben Rivke Dine, sein gesund und stark. So Al Capone, he had, in those days, it was used by the CIA, the FBI. It was as big as this size. That was called small. That's a miniature. That's that size, a miniature. That's that size, and it worked on a battery. It didn't even work on the tape. It worked on a wire. It was recorded on the thin wires. That was a special a patent gemacht by the FBI. Gemacht as a special. So one of the guys had it. And we had Yechidus 25 minutes. We said, was a ganz Arichis, Masben a ganz Arichis, Schat, and then mit ganz mit Landes mit. So we took it down, and I copied it onto what we call a reel-to-reel tape, the regular, jener Zeiten isn't regular. Today people don't even know what it is, basically what the Sisafila, but regular thing. But nobody ever had it. I made Hanocha myself, and I gave it out the Hanocha. I typed it up myself. In Australia, I typed it up, but the recording nobody heard. It's for the chasna. Instead of giving out printed chure, I made this. And once I made this, I put in that also. I had the recording of the Rebbe. That also wasn't a person, but they played it on the radio, the Yiddish station WEVD in Jener Zeiten in New York. So when the Rebbe, the Shazar came into the Rebbe, a ganze Gruppe came in with him. They waited the first 5-10 minutes, and then they go out and the Rebbe... Was? The radio.
The
radio.
Später nicht da, viel später, was
No, but when they came in, the radio was there. It was open to the press. When Begin came that time.
Yeah.
They made an official statement for the television, more than 100%. They had gesagt, alle Sachen. So they recorded it. It's 5 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever. And then they played it on the radio. So I recorded it off the radio. And then I put it on over there. And I was in Australia also. I had Shmuel Betzalel. I was to Shmuel Betzalel. I went to his house. And I recorded it again, reel to reel. I told him I want to have a Parnagun. There's various steps. I don't know what's I never compared all of them, but he sang to me a halbe show. I like the Pilpelniken. I used to sing the Pilpelniken. That Baruch Hashem. So I put that on also. Yeah, he was how where the Rebbe is. He told me, he told me, given beim Friedrich Rebbe, a Huisbacher Kaviyochel in Leningrad, in Peterburg, and also the Rebbe Chover lived the same time. Sabbath the Friedrich Rebbe, Sabbath the Rebbe Chover, and he said his words about himself. He said, "Irving Achsidische Shekels." You like that? Don't take it so lightly. He said Achsidische. He didn't say Achshekels. Shekels are all. Achsidische Shekels. Okay, but the Achsidische Shekels, you know, all the Nigunim, and it was by the. He was by the Friedrich Rebbe.
Call him tomorrow.
He told me that he remembers a group of Lubavitcher Bochrim, Iluyim from Lubavitch, they were punked in Leningrad, and they came to speak to the Rogatchover in Lebanon. He mentioned me a few names. I don't remember all the names, in case I made a mistake, but the one, the Nemen, but a few names, Grace and Nemen, and they spoke to Rogatchover. But Rogatchover is the ganze Teire, as we know, thanks to the Rebbe, we got a Amerach Zoch. The whole Teire is in your Nechot. You can't just drain Amerach. And they started sparen sich mit dem. Weißt du, man sich gespart so. Da weiß nicht lernen, weißt du, a Boche 20 Jahre alt, da gehst du ein paar Gemorres, da weiß nicht, kann lernen. So Shmuel Betzalel said, he was there. He was, he had straight from them, was gehört dort von Rogatchover. And the Rogatchover was telling him, it's out, it's klapped, it's finished. And then he kept on sparen. So he says, Verden, he geht da raus von da, ich hab halt platten den Kopf. That's what he said. In English it means, yeah, horses, you get out of here or I'll bust your heads off. In plain English. I can tell you a guy, like, now it's really day. Well, it's night, but it's cloudy, it's really... It's a selbe Sache. But Rogatchover, it's like in front of his eyes, the gehst mit drin, mit Ding sich in der Pilp mit der Pschettel, mit alle Meises. Das geht, man schon Shmuel Betzalel, geht von Rogatchover allein. Das ist nicht etwas, ich mit Pisch. Das geht straight von... Bei mir gewinnt... And the Rebbe, you know, had a whole correspondence. There's even a letter that this came out later from the Rebbe. There's nothing from the Rebbe that I think the Rebbe wrote down in it. They found at the Hebrew University. I think they found from the Rogatchover. Letters from the Rebbe to the Rogatchover wasn't by the Rebbe. It was even a postcard. It was sent to the Rogatchover. The Rebbe doesn't have a copy of it. They had. From his as Weiner, weißt du, was geblieben von Rogatchover, ended up over there, and guys, weißt du, man sucht, hat mich gefunden, man ist ganz ariches. Und da habe ich sich gespart sich mit dem Teike. Das ist Teiro, limit eine Zorich, weißt du, and the correspondence, the Rogatchover wouldn't write Omid Aleph, Omid Beis, and he wouldn't even write what is Mechaber. Today, a Mechaber writes, you ask a Gemara in Soch, that Mem Zayin is the Kosovo of the Kach. he used to write Reib Psachim Mem Zayin, and the Rebbe wrote back like that. Ma Yase in Chulin Kuf Lamed Zayin. What does it say there? Is that a Rashi, a Taispis? You see the letters that all went back and forth. It's an under level of Schreiben. Verstehst du?
Schnell geht in die Sprache.
Ja. Yeah, but the Bachim is doch. Sagt, Chassidische Chemisch von itself. Zeker is lassen von dem, Chassidiskeit, kennen das sagen. Chassidische Beindel.
Ich habe mal erzählt, einmal haben sie die Stuben gesagt, da hat schon das Gerät lernen, sie brauchen wir kommen Stuben Sachen.
Ja.
So, der Schamesh sagt, was tut der? Hat nicht Knister, der hat doch Nigle.
Ja.
Sagt der Ratschau, was sei das echt nicht.
My father also, my father lived in Shikl Zeitung in Leningrad. He was in the shul of the Rebbe Chobot. He was a short man, he said, but in shul, he couldn't sit. He used to run up and down. The cup had gelaufen, helped him to calm down a little. Gelaufen, hinten so he can shul, back and forth. The Rebbe said also, that's good to see the sprinter, that he said that the Shverster took by given Shabbos. The Shabbos, he couldn't write down the Nevi'as HaMeichin is, you can't get the Hanan. So Shabbos, I say, you write it down, you magbut, you put a parameter around it. So can't be that. That's your dot,
So a ganze Woche he was writing, a ganze Woche.
What?
A ganze Woche he was writing.
He was able to write. By him, one word is also enough. One word is a stop sign. Stop. Go to the next thing. That means he wrote down the whole pilpul. Okay, that's it. Now we're going.
Aber Shabbos ist doch...
Shabbos, that was good to see. Shabbos, you couldn't write. But Middle Rebbe is also like that. The Middle Rebbe said my morning for 3-4 hours, he used to say. In the middle of the Maimed, he used to say something, and then half an hour later, Udaleka now. Not like we said before. Hello, so why'd you say it? Why'd you say that before? It's moving. It means it's Inyan and Teda, but with this, it's Leka now.
Mitten, Shah.
Oh, Shasha, yeah, that's right. That's it, yes. It says also that he kept on writing, the tables. People had to put the paper in, but between they put the table is full of words. Between the Mamorim, there's words missing because the last word didn't match with the next word on the next page because in the middle the table caught it.
Sie gewähnen noch nass. Also schon mal so gegeben, sie noch gewähnen nass.
Ja.
Aber ich sage, kommt zurück noch.
He's on the lady, was it? He's on my plane.
Schon sein, gehen sehr schnell.
Ich komme von dem Josef.
Was?
Heute schließen kann ich gehen auf dem Ziel.
Had a face. I remember. Er lebt jetzt.
Nein, komm zurück, ich kann auf dem Telefon. Also ich komme schon zurück.
Oh, okay.
Mein Morozov gesagt, ich bin ein Kind, das hat gedreht, man hat geschaut in Leningrad, ich bin ein Kind von 8 Jahren, so viel weniger, also ich habe den Effekt, endlich und schmeinen, so sehr gern.
Ja.
Sagt er, Ingeling, ich gesagt dann nochmal gelingt, wenn wir es nochmal, das ist ein Schnagel, im Kopf am Schnagel. Ich habe gesagt zu mir, guck, das ist ein Schnagel, guck am Schnagel, ja, wenn das gewinnt, ich habe gesagt, nochmal.
Ihr schon gedacht mit Nagel allein?
Ja.
Also ich habe ihm gesagt,
Ja, das sagt man, ich gesagt dann noch von der Menschen, guck am Schnagel,
Sag dir sagen, Agatscheva kann nicht zu schnell Schmones, das passt doch nicht in der Blatt. Nach ein bisschen warten noch Schmones, hat er gesagt, das ist noch ein Warten. Aber heute so, dass viele Käfer nicht gesund, hat er begeben, ob es ein Brache dort, ne? Agatscheva? Doch frisch spät, viele Käfer sind nicht gesund.
Oh, ja.
Ja, schon Agatscheva, das wird ein Brache.
Die meisten Menschen sagen, der Rebbe sollte da bringen zum Eier und fragen beim Rennen.
Ja.
Aber ich sage, was ist da nicht gegangen? Fast Schabes hat gefragt, er gesagt zu Stritter oder zu Lebrecht am Fremden der Schutz.
He told that to Shazar himself.
No, because you just said before, Elliot Yodi can get, but the brothers are going to simultaneously can bring it.
If the Rebbe will tell him go, then he'll find a husband. Why he has to go?
But the Rebbe, when he came back from the Oyer,
That's a fact that he says he's going to ask. Ich kenne nicht, Judea das Alien ist basically Bilam mit seinem Esel zusammen, als steht in der Table. Je deed dat Bilam mit einem Esel, ein gut Pferd, und sie wissen, dass der das soll. Ich bin nicht kein Bilamborg, ich habe nicht kein Esel. So, ich bin nicht kein der das soll.
Victor.
We can only say what we saw and what we heard. This is what we heard. Pirushim, I once spoke by
Victor, look what's going on, Victor.
So I told him things that I told him before I start, I have to make a disclaimer. And Meshka Vaski is sitting there and he looks up and he made that disclaimer that some who knows what's coming now. They say a bomb is going to come out. So I said, I want to tell you something. The disclaimer is very posh. Bei Jeden wird man wohl sagen, versteht in alle Sachen, die Ahon ibn Yodam. What's Ahon ibn Yodam? When you say Kaporis, you say Bnei Yodam Yishrev Samovis, and you're turning the chicken. The chicken has eyes. It's also looking into the scissor. See, it's the same. So the chicken knows Bnei Yodam. We understand. So I can just tell you what I saw. In Yurim, after I finished speaking, one of the shluchim comes over. He said, "Why?" I said, "I answered you before I started." Yurim, you can give yourself. I'm just reporting. I'm a reporter. I reported what I saw. That's it. Has Beirim with Yurim, whatever you want to say, could be right, could be wrong. I can't tell. What I can say. But it says that he told the Rebbe, theoretically, maybe he meant. Even though fixed maybe as far as the Rebbe should go. The Rebbe never went anywhere, you know that. The Rebbe didn't. But the only place the Rebbe did go, he went to Menachem Bovelos in Satnas gegangen.
Yes.
Nee, das war persönliche Sache. So Satmer, and earlier he used to go even to a priest. Sure. And Siddiq Kedushin, wasn't 770. Siddiq Kedushin used to travel to Siddiq Kedushin. The gold man that was a hole in Williamsburg told somebody made a Beit Meirish. All the chassidish, the shins and the early youths, I was there. And there's Melrose Chateau on Pitkin Avenue. The Rebbe used to go there, and then there's like a sichas. And those chassidish, you have to understand, Lubavitch then was about this big or this big. If you look, the Sefer Mekadosh Yisrael, you ask how many chasanas you have. How many chasanas you have per year? How many chasanas? 15, 29, 30, 7, 8, 9, 10. For the ganze year. That means ganz Lubavitch consisted of 7 and 8, 9 people of that year. Then another year.
Van der Meisdag, Gershumen, when at Chassan given 3 Chassanim.
Yeah. But that was the ganze year. You count it up. And every chassan is recorded, even if the ones they don't have pictures, but the name is there, and the date is there, everything is there. He didn't skip anything. He did a very good job, Zakhovsky. So everything is there. So the Rebbe used to go, and then the Rebbe used to say a sikh also. But the Kabbalah spun him, the Rebbe used to speak, beside the Kiddush, and the Rebbe went back 770. And then they started making that, they used to come to the Rebbe. You give me a dollar that started, the Chassan was...
The Rebbe going...
The Rebbe didn't go. The Rebbe stayed in 770, the Chassan was in Williamsburg, and like you have now, like now you have, let's say, in Razak. They want to make the Chassan in 770. It's the Abbas. It's not then the same topic. You don't need a bus.
When you come back.
Yeah. The Kabbalah Spani was there. Then they went 770. The Rebbe's Masadi Kedushin, and they went back. But the Erste Yorn, the Rebbe went there. The Rebbe went there. Masadi Kedushin, and there was a Sikha. And the bring a Sikha. They went to Britain. They went to also.
So why did Rebbe stop?
They stopped altogether. No. They stopped Tavshin Chof. They stopped. The last ones. No. The last ones, Abraham Shem Tov and that. But then there made 2 exceptions. One exception was Sonkin. Abraham was a Sonkin. He married Geshem.
Weißt du was?
Shalom.
Was sag mal beim Exception?
Was?
Sie gewinnen, der Rebbe zum Salig Geduschen von alle Poisoners. Sie gewinnen die letzten. Das ist Salmen und Label und...
Salmen, I
don't know.
Ich was gehört von ihr allein.
Can you say the Metzias? But are you saying why the Rebbe did it? It must be.
Sie haben gekommen back.
The day that I saw you, I stayed away.
Was the last one.
That was the last one officially. Then the Rebbe, the Rebbe used to make conditions. Actually, had to have a beer. The vibe had to wear a shirt. And then there was a mice also, Mama with Shlichus also. And there was too many exceptions and too many guys that could do it, they couldn't do it. I know there were some guys didn't have a beer steak, and if I wasn't aboard, they should mention the names there that's being recorded there. that the verlassen abort, da was Masada Kedushin, da was the Masada Kedushin, Baruch Hashem, da Kinder and Eineklach, nur Eineklach, the Geschluchim, all the ganze Welt. But the only ones that was, the exception was Shmulu, Abraham was Hasonkin. Abraham was
after Toshin Chof.
Yeah. There was Chav Beis and Chav Gimel. Chav Beis was Hasonkin, and Shmulu was the last one, was Chav Gimel. So Hasonkin's Chuppah was with the Sukkahs now. You know, because guys asked me, they want to make it.
You make over them.
They want to make it. Shmulu, it was over there by the entrance. So now the Rebbe was Masada Kedushin. But on the side, there was not Masada Kedushin. I said, this is a mistake. The Rebbe, I was there, Masada Kedushin. No, Shmulu was taking the front. Sasonkin was on the side. There was nobody there. I'm in the picture there also. You see, maybe a place, besides the guests. I wasn't a guest. I wasn't invited guest. Maybe 10, 15 chevra, that's it. Everybody else was guests. I decided to come. You couldn't talk about it. I was handing aside and given a portuish mention with and over there, what happened was also, the Rebbe didn't tell them it was Masada Kedushin. It was a secret. So the chasna was in Pittsburgh. They sent out invitations in Pittsburgh. People were invited in a hall, and they came to the hall. Mamish a day or two before, the Rebbe said, "Be Masada Kedushin," but he's not going to Pittsburgh.
Geschmeckt Chassan echt gewinnen zij.
Was?
Geschmeckt Chassan gewinnen 77 Gruppen.
Ja. Aber Geschmeckt gewusst.
Ja.
Hat nicht gewusst. Everything was ready. So the chuppah was taken early. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The chuppah, and they ran right straight to the airport. Baruch Hashem, they caught the plane, and the chasana was in the Smell red blood. He must smell red blood. He married Silver from Detroit. No, Silver.
Silver, Moshe Silver.
Der hat Padale.
Ja, Moshe, ja.
Der kleine hat Padale, ganz weiß. Was a Vremel Silver. Der ganz von der Rebbe says, Arba Yoshi Lachem. I have get my brothers in Castella, you know, that's in the mice. So upon him, he married Silver's sister. And the Rebbe would give every chosen used to get before Mincha, the Rebbe went out to Mincha, the Rebbe had an extra siddur, a Torah siddur, a mix of those Torah siddurim, and he gave it to the chosen. Who's better than those 2 chasanim, the Rebbe asked who's getting married first, and he'd give the guy who's first, then he'd give it over to the person. Yeah. So he is getting married, Baruch Hashem, and in Detroit, and he got a plane ticket to come. He'll get the siddur first in Detroit to the chasana. But at 7 o'clock, the chasana. They used to get home from a snowstorm. In New York, a snowstorm. They canceled all the flights. Everything was canceled. The guy that said for the Rebbe, they clapped al chet, alle gute Sachen, and now. The second Pedic Kedushin starts Ish Mekadish Meir B'Shluchim. Mekadish for the Shliach. You don't have to be yourself. Verstehst? Call him a guy, do me a favor. I'm here, I'm stuck. America said, "Todd, right? I'm finished. Second Pedic Kedushin. Ish Mekadish Meir B'Shluchim." Yeah. Says, well, no, it's a kamad gehalten dabei. Lepel, I don't know how, he went to Connecticut, someplace else. He arrived, I think 1 o'clock, he arrived at the Chasana. They haben schon getanzt, wir sind gegessen, the chicken, the dessert, und alle Sachen. Sie kamen geblieben am Minyan, das Mekadik mit dem Bey. Nicht beschluchet, Mekadik mit dem Bey. So after that, the Rebbe started giving out Sidurim for guys who getting married in a different city. If you marry them in Crown Heights, no problem. If you marry someplace else, do me a favor. You don't need such Mekadosh neighbors looking. Smell the red blood.
Smell red blood.
You know what it is. Another Taylor. Yeah. Silver
from Detroit.
Detroit. The house was in Detroit.
It was a snowstorm.
Yeah, he got stuck. So he got the siddur, to Ogedam, klappt al chet, alle gute Sachen, wenn ich mir gebe. Da bist du sagen, Usbet, alle gute Sachen, gute Brachos. That he got Baruch Hashem, but then he almost had to be a kind of Mishluch.
שמואל, היום זה היום שלך.
Yodel got engaged.
אם אתה היום, יום הולדת.
Way back from camp. They came very late.
Oh, right.
Never said, "Dachtach, I think by the 9."
לא אתה לפני
At 12
שמואל.
o'clock at night. Dachtach, they wanted to break the
אני שם כבר מישהו שכבר שם אחרי הסבא שלי. מי זה הסבא שלך?
He's mine. Put the l'chaim.
Might Kazinis.
You came late.
לסבא שלך היה לו ילדים, היה לו נכדים, יש לו? קוראים להם שמו פרזן, יש לו... לא, מהילדים שלו, מהבנים שלו, כן. אבל הם צעירים. שמו פרזן זה אבא של הילר. אוקיי. אני פעם חשבתי שאני הראשון דור שני. אחרי זה יש אחד לפניי. לכן אני רוצה לדעת אם יש מישהו. תמיד חשבתי סבא שלי הוא אחד מהשמות הראשונים, הוא נפטר צעיר. נו. שצר צעיר.
Der Hilliger, der Rebbe, der gem a Sider, der gem a Sider, stein kost auf da.
Why you saying the Rebbe didn't give it to people didn't get married in Crown Heights?
Nee, das
Why you
ist
saying the
gedacht
Rebbe
dort.
didn't get married in Crown Heights?
Der Rebbe
Not
said,
the same, not there. You have to get a day
I got
earlier.
married here Sunday night. I got to sit by the Rebbe the same morning.
Who?
Me?
took a flight.
Yeah.
Ja, sag mir das, das ist gewähnt.
I was there, got to sit and I flew back. And I got at the wedding.
After the Rebbe you got?
Ja, Mensch.
You know what I'm saying?
The day of the chasna.
You sent me the picture, you. I'll show you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You told me you were there Sunday morning. I have a picture.
After the Bismarck became, right after that for sure stopped.
The last of the
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, such a mice was not late, but it's not a geschmack of mice.
But you can't say that they didn't do it because
You
I
had
did it.
right after that was for sure. Maybe a Veshkas
the letzte Sider von Reben ist schon Leibseid der
Was hat er gemacht?
vom Boropark. Wollte ich konntest noch sein Tat in der Jula, no. Simpson. He's the last. He got married to sein Oder.
Sein Oder?
Hat die Farben der gefunden auf Eier. Farben der gefunden auf Eier von der Masse.
Der wird mir geben, als wir.
Und dann gekommen da.
Sein Oder. Wow.
Yechiel.
Ja, nein. Die Hasne was hier, die Angese. Die Hasne was hier. Ja, was war?
Ich hab doch nicht gewusst, wo es ist.
Was hat er gemacht? Der Östen bei Moon,
Alma Jaffe, da fragen mich so ein bisschen. Aber von deswegen, ich denke, als ich mit der Hassan von Michel Wischetski, so ein gewollt ich hatte, besonders an der Guschen sein, kommen von Russland, aber das ist nicht...
zum Software,
Nein.
Mayor Plotkin told me that Sasonkin, the father was killed by the
Meisje.
They never grew up with a father. So it's
Right. Noch um da Tamur, der Zegel, was man
So I think, as ich had Mayor Plotkin, who started Mayor Plotkin, they said he told the Rebbe, er Shamakli gewendet, um Korben der Shamakli gewendet, Kinder, I think zwei Brüder was er.
Ja.
Zwei Brüder. So I think he asked, I don't know if it was connected.
Ich hab gehört von so Rivka's wife. She said, his wife, Abraham's wife, als Sholem hat gesagt, Sholem Poisner,
Der Tate.
sie ist die Yngste. Der Rebbe hat gemacht alle seine Kinder. Label, Zalman,
The child is why the Rebbe did it.
no, was?
The child said McCulloch with them. I don't know. I can tell you that was on the Kedushin, that was much of the pictures also. That was it. But Mogul was also there.
Nee,
You can. Something in Italian, you should some Rebbe.
ja.
See, that's not it all makes sense. It's all say there, that's aliens, and that's the Rebbe. That's it.
Ich meine, das amerikanische Strom ist nicht geschrieben.
Was?
Die amerikanische Strom ist nicht geschrieben.
Die meisten Schüler?
Was sie sagen, wegen dem, der Scholem gesagt, das ist nur auf Strichhess und sie da.
Nein, die Kerl hat geschrieben, alle Sachen. Das ist gerade, der Rebbe ist mir kann so lieb da.
Wer weiß doch.
Der Rebbe sagt, ja, mit Kabel ist
Ich gedenke, als wenn der Chassel von Agalitzki, die Gitarre, die kommen jetzt auf die Chassel, nicht vergessen, die Heisen, nein? Richtig.
Was?
Das ist richtig, sie nicht. Vergessen die Heisen.
Wer?
Der Schneider, ja.
Der Galitzki?
Ja. Der Schneider hat gesagt, kein Chassel Mann ist, nicht? Das ist was gewinnt? Richtig? Nehmen die Heisen. Dann wir Heisen. Nehmen wir Heisen.
Machen wir schon nicht. Dann kämpfen. Deze Moritz
Ja, maar ze is niet, ja.
is dat de stad van de zon is van de place macht in Kern. Macht der ganze das mit der ganzen Binien das Husay. Ich gekommen dabei we're going to continue with haste on haste. Sag even nur das alles.
Das ist ein Fall.
Ja.